good evening to all the aspirants. My name is Sumeet and as usual, we'll start a session on current affairs. Till now, we have finished the first week of September for the current affairs session. Now, the time has come to start the second week of current affairs. So let us deep dive into the subject. The first issue that had been doing a lot of rounds in the national newspapers as well as the local newspapers was about the Mysore Dasara. Inauguration of Mysore Dasara, right? So the state government, the government of Karnataka had invited Banu Mushtaq. Banu Mushtaq, as you all are aware, is a winner of International Booker Prize. So she was invited by the Karnataka government to inaugurate the Mysore Dasara. However, there were certain groups of people who have raised objections to this invitation given to Banu Mushtaq, citing the problem that since Banu Mushtaq is a non-Hindu, and since she is a non-Hindu and she has been invited to inaugurate the Dasara festival, which is a Hindu festival in its own right. So keeping this view in mind, many groups have raised a petition in the High Court of Karnataka. But however, the High Court had declined to pass a judgment on that particular issue, and hence the issue has been taken up by the Supreme Court. So is that understood? So recently Supreme Court gave a judgment. The Supreme Court gave a judgment, and that judgment has clearly told that there is no problem in inviting non-Hindus to a festival which is entirely Hindu in its denomination. The Supreme Court, the judgment of the Supreme Court has also asked the petitioners to read the preamble of the Constitution, and doing that, in saying that, what the Supreme Court is essentially stating that since India is a secular country, and in a secular country there is no problem whenever a non-Hindu person is invited to be a part of a Hindu function, or say for example people of any other denomination, religious denomination, they will not be stopped from attending any religious functions. Is that understood? So this is the entire idea of secularism itself, right? Now the Supreme Court has given a thumbs up to the Karnataka government for inviting Banu Mushtaq, who is a non-Hindu, to a festival which is the Dasara festival, which is a part of Hindu denomination. However, there was also an argument which was put forward by the Karnataka government. Karnataka government had told that the Dasara festival is essentially the state festival, and in the state festival the government is organizing it as a secular festival, and since it is a secular festival, many non-Hindus will also be a part of this festival in the state. Many foreigners, many non-Hindus will also congregate in the city of Mysore and witness the celebration of this Dasara festival as a secular festival, which will be celebrated by the Congress government or the government of Karnataka. That was also the argument which was put forward by the state government of Karnataka. So I hope everything is clear. What you'll have to keep in your mind with respect to the exams perspective is that Banu Mushtaq, she has won this year's International Booker Prize. Is that understood? International Booker Prize. This is one of the most prestigious awards when it comes to literature, right? Keeping in view her achievements in the field of literature, the government of Karnataka had invited Banu Mushtaq to be a part of this Mysore Dasara celebration. Now let us look at some other important facts about the Mysore Dasara. So is Banu Mushtaq the first non-Hindu individual to be invited to be a part of Mysore festival? No, it is not. In the year 2017, the Karnataka government had invited Nisar Ahmed to be a part of this Mysore Dasara inauguration. Now, not only Nisar Ahmed, I hope you guys are aware that even there was a Diwan of Mysore. The name of that Diwan is Mirza Ismail, Sir Mirza Ismail. He was a Diwan of Mysore in the 1920s till 1940s. Even he was also invited by the then Maharaja of Mysore to be a part of Dasara festival. So what are these events? What do these events portray? These events, they send a message that this function, this event is essentially a secular event. This is a secular event, and hence there is nothing wrong in inviting non-Hindus to be a part of this congregation as well. So this is with respect to what the Supreme Court judgment had recently given. So keeping in mind the Supreme Court's judgment and its thumbs up to invite Banu Mushtaq to inaugurate the Mysore Dasara festival, the government of Karnataka had invited Banu Mushtaq to inaugurate the festival in the city of Mysore. So this is with respect to the state event which was doing a lot of round in our national debates. So let us go to the next issue. The next issue is about Frontier 50. This Frontier 50 is actually a policy which has been launched by Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog. Now, what is this frontier technology? Please understand this word frontier comes from the word frontier technology. Frontier technology. When I use the word frontier technology, you'll have to keep in your mind that frontier technology involves some groundbreaking technological areas like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, drones, etc. So these are considered to be the frontier technologies. Now these frontier technologies will be used in 50 designated districts and blocks. 50 designated districts and blocks which are in the country of India, right? 15 designated districts and blocks which are part of India. Now these technology will be used in the delivery of services, government services. Government services. When I use the word government services, you'll have to keep in your mind that when I use the word government services including in the field of agriculture, health, education, and skilling, etc. So these are some of the most important points which you'll have to keep in your mind. So these are the areas where the government will be using frontier technology like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, drones, etc. to deliver the government services, like health, education, skilling, agriculture, etc. There are many number of things, and this technology, this particular approach will be applied to 50 specific districts, and blocks. What the government is trying to achieve over here is that it is trying to reduce the corruption. Point number one, the objective behind using this frontier technology is that it is trying to reduce corruption, as in many intermediaries will be eliminated from the process. Now it is also trying to use the technology. For essential service delivery, for essential government service delivery. So these are the points which you'll have to keep in your mind with respect to Frontier 50 technology, and it was recently launched by the government of India in collaboration with Niti Aayog. Niti Aayog. Is that clear? Now, since everything is clear about this subject, we'll go to the next topic. The next topic talks about WIPO's Global Innovation Index. Recently, this WIPO, let us first understand what this WIPO is. The abbreviation of WPIO is that World Intellectual Property Organization. So this is an organization which focuses entirely on intellectual property. When I use the word intellectual property, you'll have to understand that this is related to your science and technology. So any new product, however, whenever there is an innovation surrounding that, it will be a part of intellectual property. Say for example, if you have made a code and that code has a lot of varied scientific applications, then that code will be patented in your name. And when that code is patented in your name, it becomes your intellectual property. Now this intellectual property will be considered by World Intellectual Property Organization. So this organization has recently formed this new index called as Global Innovation Index. Now in this index, what it essentially does is that it ranks countries, it ranks various countries based on the level of innovation which has been taking place in them. Innovation which has been taking place in them. Now it has ranked 139 countries. It has ranked 139 countries, and it is a matter of huge pride that the Indian country, our country of India has achieved the 38th rank. 38th rank according to this index. Is that understood? Which makes India the top performer, especially in the Central and South Asian region. Which means no other country apart from India in the region of Central as well as Southern Asia has gained this rank. Now, if India has scored 38th rank, let us look at who are the top performers according to this index. The first top performer is Switzerland. The second rank is held by the country of Sweden. Then the third rank, of course, goes to the United States of America. So these are the top performers according to this Global Innovation Index. Is that understood? So this is a matter of huge pride that India is slowly rising in these ranks. Now please understand, this WPO gives these ranks based on various parameters. Which are those parameters? There are almost 80 plus parameters on which each and every country will be adjudged, and based on their performance on these 80 plus parameters, the countries are allocated the respective ranks. Now some of the most important parameters are patent filings. Second one, research papers and business clarity. When it comes to business clarity and regulatory support, regulatory as in government support to research. So these are some of the most important parameters on which the innovation present in each and every country will be adjudged. And based on the performance of a countries on these parameters, these countries will be ranked accordingly. Right? So I hope everything is clear about this issue. Let us go to the next topic. The next topic is about Saudi Arabia-Pakistan Defense Pact. Recently, the country of Saudi Arabia and Pakistan both have signed a mutual defense agreement. And what does that agreement say? The agreement says that any attack on either of the countries, will be considered an attack on itself. Say for example, Israel attacks Saudi Arabia. If Israel, the country of Israel, if it attacks Saudi Arabia, then Pakistan will consider that attack on Saudi Arabia as an attack on itself. That you will have to keep in your mind. And let us look at scenario number 2. What does scenario number 2 say? Say for example, if India attacks Pakistan, then the country of Saudi Arabia will consider this attack on Pakistan as an attack on itself. So this is what this mutual defense agreement is all about. Now this mutual defense agreement considers attacks which are conventional in nature. Point number 1. They will also include possibly include nuclear attacks as well. Conventional, when I use the word conventional, please understand it is related to your bombs, gun attacks, kinetic attacks, anything, any kinetic attack, that will be considered as a conventional attack, whereas the other option is the possibility of using nuclear attacks as well. I hope everything is clear about this topic. Now please understand, why have Saudi Arabia and Pakistan gotten into this arrangement? That you'll have to understand from the perspective. Please understand, recently the country of Qatar was attacked by Israel. The country of Qatar was attacked by Israel. Right? Is that clear? Now, since Qatar is also a friendly neighbor of Saudi Arabia, and the country of USA used to guarantee the security of countries of Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. Saudi Arabia and UAE together. Now, since Israel attacked Qatar in the first place and the USA did not come and supported Qatar in this particular incident, now this kind of triggered an anxiety in the country of Saudi Arabia. Now, the country of Saudi Arabia was looking to expand its defense cooperation with other countries, and the possible candidate here was Pakistan. Now, looking at this change in defense scenario, the country of Saudi Arabia has now come in agreement with Pakistan. Now, the country of Saudi Arabia, the security of the country of Saudi Arabia is not only guaranteed by USA, but as per this agreement, it is also guaranteed by the country of Pakistan. Is that understood? Now let us look at its implication on India. Please understand, both India and Saudi Arabia have friendly relationships. Our mutual trade with respect to trade and defense cooperation has crossed $42 billion. $42 billion. $42.9 billion. So this is the total transactions which we have with the country of Saudi Arabia. Now, if Saudi Arabia is having a defense cooperation with Pakistan, I hope you guys are getting the point that tomorrow if India attacks Pakistan, then what will Saudi Arabia do in such instance? That is a concern which has been growing in the country of India. Now, many experts and academics are pointing to the point that India should not read too much into this agreement. Why? Because India already has a very good relationship with Saudi Arabia. And point number one, which you'll have to keep in your mind, is that this agreement, India should negotiate with the country of Saudi Arabia to maintain its neutral stance whenever there is a conflict between India and Pakistan. This is what India can do in such an instance. This is what many academics and experts are trying to push an opinion in the Indian think tanks as well as the government bodies. So this is the implication of this agreement. I hope everything is clear about this topic. Let us go to the next topic. The next topic is about the imposition of sanctions as well as tariffs. Imposition of sanctions as well as tariffs on India. Recently, the president of USA, Donald Trump, has imposed a huge fees amounting to $1 lakh for H1B visa holders. What is this H1B? Please understand, this is an visa which is provided to non-immigrants to America who take up some special tasks or special jobs, special tasks. So this is a visa arrangement which is present in the country of USA. Earlier, to gain this H1B visa, generally the people used to spend somewhere around 15 to 20,000 US dollars. But now Trump has increased this amount to 1 lakh US dollars. Please understand. So this has created a lot of panic in the IT industry. Why specifically IT industry? Please understand, the holders of H1B visa majorly work under IT industry, and 71% of the holders of this visa belong to The Indians, and these Indians, they are given this H1B visa by companies like major companies like Infosys, TCS, Wipro, etc. But these are the companies which pay for this H1B visa amount, so that Indians can gain this H1B visa and work in USA. Earlier it was 20,000, and that is why many companies could afford this amount, and that kind of fueled the rise of immigration of Indians from the country of India to USA. But however, now since with the rise of 1 lakh fee to gain this H1B visa, it has created a lot of anxieties among companies which are trying to buy this visa. Now, please understand, this rise in $1 lakh of this fee is very high, very high. Why? Because 60 to 70% of H1B visa holders, they do not earn this amount of money in the USA. Many 60 to 70% of Indians who hold the H1B visas, they do not have an annual package which is up to 1 lakh US dollars. So now this has created a lot of concern even among the people who are already having H1B visas, as well as the companies who purchase this H1B visas for their employees who want to migrate to USA and work over there. Now, this has created a situation where India will definitely face a lot of problems. Say, for example, economic problem. What will this do? This will reduce the migration of Indians to the USA. That is point number one. Point number two, now since there will be a reduction in the flow of Indians to USA, that also means the remittances coming from the USA to India will also be reduced. Now this will again impact, what will it impact? It will impact our foreign reserves negatively. Is that understood? This is sanction number one which the US government has imposed on India. Let us look at the second sanction which the USA has imposed on India. The government of USA, Mr. Trump, has again imposed another sanction on India, and that is with respect to a port in Iran. What is the name of that port? The name of that port is Chahabar. Now this port has been jointly developed by both Iran and India. Both these countries are jointly developing this port, and this port is present in the country of Iran. This port is presently present in the country of Iran. Now through this port, India will bypass Pakistan to bypass the country of Pakistan to access Central Asia and Russia. India will bypass the country of Pakistan to have a very strong trade connections with Central Asia and Russia through this port. That has been the idea behind establishing a Chahabar port in the country of Iran. That is point number one, which you'll have to keep in mind. Now, earlier India had gained a waiver on sanctions. It had gained a waiver of sanctions from the US government. In the year 2018. Now, this waiver has been removed by the Trump administration. Now, Trump administration is imposing sanctions on India, which means India cannot invest in the port of Chahabar. In case if India invests and develops this port of Chahabar, then the country of USA will impose its sanctions, as in it might again increase the tariffs and also reduce the economic transactions between both the countries, as in the countries of USA and India. This is sanction number 2, which had been recently imposed by the Trump administration on the country of India. Now, I hope everything is clear about this topic. Let us go to the next topic. The next topic is about World Trade Organization. Recently, the World Trade Organization has implemented an agreement which focuses specifically on fisheries and its subsidies. Now, this agreement has got to do with fisheries. When I use the word fisheries, you'll have to keep in mind that this is related to fisheries which will be taking place in international waters. International waters. When I use the word international waters, please understand it concerns seas, major seas, and oceans. Now, what does this agreement do? This agreement is focused on eliminating subsidies which are harmful as in which promotes over exploitation of what? Over exploitation of fishes. I hope you guys are aware that fishes are, the population and the stock of fishes are regularly depleting in our oceans. Now, if we over exploit these fishes, don't you think the population will lead to the fishing? The population of fishes will slowly go to be extinct, and in order to stop this extinction of fishes and the reduction in their stocks, the agreement is trying to remove those subsidies which promote over exploitation of fisheries in the international waters. This is what the WTO agreement has been trying to achieve. This agreement has been signed by India and all other major countries, and recently it reached two-third votes in the WTO. This agreement was signed again in the year 2022, and it has come into force recently when two-third countries acceded to this fisheries. Right? This is an important agreement with respect to sustainability. This is the first agreement. In fact, this is the first agreement signed by the WTO, signed by or a major agreement with respect to WTO, which focuses on sustainability of ocean resources. I hope everything is clear about this topic. This is the end of this second week session. Thank you so much for being a part of this session. Thank you so much for being a part of Classic Education.